bless you on this beautiful Sunday morning. We're excited that you are with us this morning. Thank God for you joining us. I think getting a little bit more light going on here on Facebook. I got some advice from some of my professional gospel friends who are in this arena and who do a lot of um, productions and it gave me some advice and some stuff to do. So we have a little bit more lightness here this morning with our live. But thank God for you being here. Good morning, Mother Wilson. Want to share a couple announcements with you all. Please join us today at Little River Zion Baptist Church. Good morning, Pastor Ballinger. At 10 o'clock, join us today at 10. We're excited about being with Pastor Hunter and we're excited about what God has to say to us today. I want to thank God for the family that asked me to minister at a eulogy yesterday. The Sanders family, you all are in my heart, in my prayers as we continue to move forward in what God has called us to. We'll continue to keep you all in prayers. Good morning in our prayers. Good morning, Tammy. Also join us Tuesday at 7 o'clock for our Bible study. Good morning, Cindy. Um, which is being led by our elders. We're super proud of them, excited that they have taken on the role of leading the Bible study now. And so we thank God for that. We're studying out of the book Power of the Tongue. I think we're wrapping it up this month. And then we'll jump into another book that God has placed on my heart for us to move into. So we're excited about what God is doing. We're most definitely excited about you being a part of what we have going on here at Love Zone Ministry and the Zone. And then on next Sunday, we will be having our group therapy. So please join us for group therapy on next Sunday. We thank God for you. And we're going to get ready to jump right into this morning. Don't have a lot of time because we got to get on the road in about the next hour headed to Counters. But we give God praise. We're not complaining. We thank Him for the assignment. And we're excited to be at my family's church, the Glenns, the Cunninghams. We're excited to be there with them, the Copelands. We're excited to be there with them this morning. Good morning, Miss Beats. God bless you. And so we're going to jump right into it. We've been talking about from my book, Note to Self, The Authentic Me, My Journey Journal of Validation. And for those of you that I mail books out to this week, please let me know when you receive them. One thing about it, when we send the books out via media mail, it takes a little longer. And as we know, the mail is already a little bit behind, so it may take a little bit longer for them to get to you. But when you receive them, let me know. Good morning, Lisa. Let me know so that we are able to know that you received them. And if you don't, let us know so that we can make sure you do receive them. Thank you all to everyone that supported us in purchasing a book. We had 2 weeks of orders going out, and we almost we almost don't have any left on site. So we get ready to make another order of books. We sold over 1,000 copies. We thank God. 5 years, 1,000 copies. Hey, to God be the glory. And so we thank Him. But we've been studying out of this book, and we talked about at the beginning of this book, who are you? Had a great conversation with one of my birthing class students yesterday. And as she was processing some stuff, and I was like, but that's who you are. That's who you are. And a lot of times we overlook it, but I was so grateful that God was able to allow some of that to come out because we sometimes overlook our behaviors and think that it's a normal place and a normal thing, but it's not. We're really acting out of something that happened in our life, or we're acting out of a trigger, or we're acting out a place of hurt and disappointment, or challenges, or someone sabotaging us, or rejection, or abandonment. We're operating out of these places and we don't realize it because we've been doing it so long in our behaviors that we think it's normal. We think this is a normal behavior. And all the time it's something that's keeping us from walking in our full potential in God. Good morning, Alicia. Love you. I need to talk to you this week. I love you. Good morning, everybody. So we've been talking about who are you. We started this series with who are you, and then we tipped over into who are you really. I gotta go back because we think we skipped a day, but I want to make sure we didn't. If we did, I will get that caught up. I'll try to look into that this week. But we started this off with by any means necessary. By any means necessary was one of the topics. The other topic was who or what is holding you hostage. My God, who or what is holding you hostage. And then yesterday we dealt with negativity has no place in your life. Negativity has no place in your life. And if there are places in your life where you you're dealing with negative things, negative people, negative situations, it has no place in your life. So you got to figure out what, first of all, why have I allowed it? Because until you know why you allowed it, if you don't get that right, you'll continue to repeat that cycle. And then you got to know and ask yourself, good morning, Mother Fan. What can I do to replace that? You know, in the therapeutic world, when we're doing our goals, we'll say, we got to replace that negative thought. You know, I'm working with the client to replace that negative thought with a positive thought. And so you got to replace that thought with something positive. You can't continue to let that negative thing exist without replacing it with something. Remember, we talked about be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And it's funny because God gave me yesterday, he says, be ye transformed. And when I got to by, he said, literally tell things bye. Bye. Because now I got to renew my mind. In order for me to be transformed, I got to tell some stuff bye. Goodbye. Not the BY, but the BYE. Not the BY, but the BYE. I got to tell it bye so that now my mind can be renewed. Because if not, in order for me to have transformation, I got to do something different. Otherwise, I'm insane. If I continue to do the same stuff over and over again and expect the different results, that's insanity. Okay. But when I want to be transformed, the word say be transformed by BY, the renewing of our mind. But I say be ye transformed by, goodbye to the bad habits, to the bad ways, bye to you, because now I got to renew my mind. Because transformation takes time. If you're building something, it takes time. I talked about my weight, even in my sharing yesterday at the funeral. I talked about my weight, and I said I don't call myself big anymore. I'm learning to call myself little. And the Bible says, speak those things that are not as though they are. I am a little girl. I am little. I'm small. I say, and I didn't get little this way by by just continuing to do the things that I was doing. That would be crazy to think that I'm gonna change something that I know has not been working for my good. Good morning, Denise, to something better by continuing to doing the same thing. I said, no, I had to tell myself, first of all, I had to find out why do I eat the way I eat? And then I had to dig deeper into that and understand it was stress driven. It was, what were the causes of why I eat the way I eat? And then I had to say bye to food and bye to bad habits and bye to some of the things that I love that was bringing this weight on my body to say hello to something else. Okay. And so negativity has no place in your life. And today we're going to be talking about forgiveness. And if you all go back to my February recordings, and I know after 30 days, Facebook will delete them. So thanks be unto God. I have a great team working with me. One of my babies that we raised up in the after school and summer camp. He's now a student in Anderson University. He comes over and he captures all of the videos. Thank God for young people who are being prepared for ministry and who have a heart to serve. So he's put all the videos into YouTube. So that's going to lead me to saying to you, go and follow me on YouTube. Go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dr. Teresa D. Shields. Go and subscribe because every video from here up until I think we can only do 10 a day. So we did up to day 10 on the series we're in now, which is Note to Self, the Authentic Me. But we also, good morning, Vaughn. We also have February. If you go to our February first fruits, I did a great ministry. God bless us with a great word on forgiveness. I'm going to read about it today, but go back and look at the February video on YouTube for first fruits. Go to first fruits February 2026. You may have to go through all of them because I don't think we labeled it forgiveness because I don't know how God is going to move and I don't get a chance. I have to label it before I start and I haven't quite learned how to go back and change it. But I don't know which video it is. I know that there's only 7 for February, but go back because I talked about the love language in February. Go back and listen to that on forgiveness. When I tell you I have a testimony about forgiveness, God has, I feel like God graced me for forgiveness. When you can walk out of a bad marriage and y'all still friends, and you're friends with not only him and his wife, when you can, and we went through a lot of stuff together, but we understood that that we may didn't make it in marriage, but it didn't stop us from making it in ministry. And we can still partner today. It's not a time I don't call him that he don't show up for me and in the area of ministry. And so I'm grateful to God for that, because you didn't make it on me, you got to be enemies. And then to have went through what I went through with the violent abuse, a violent attack, and now I embrace this young lady. We are friends. Where she's been going through some stuff. Recently lost her mom, lost her son. God allowed me to be there to help her through those places, and I am grateful. So I didn't just say, "Oh, I forgive her." No, I forgive her in my heart, and she's my sister now. And I'm telling you that to walk that. And it wasn't an easy walk, you guys. I went through the stuff. I went through wanting to get revenge. I went through wanting to be vindictive. I made it hard for her. I'm telling you, my mom made it hard for her because she had to go through a lot of court stuff and pay restitution for years, okay? And was getting ready to have a baby and wanted us to forgive. And my mom was like, no, I'm not, because I had to watch my child go through. So there was a lot of pieces to this. It wasn't as easy as me getting on here today to say, oh, yeah, I walked in forgiveness. No, 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 no. I had to deal with my heart too. I had to deal with those places too, because I got cut. I almost lost my life. Okay. But it was the very thing that I needed in my life so that I could be here for you today. Oh, come on now. It was the very thing I needed in my life so that I could be here for you today. And that's how we have to take challenges and ups and downs. And when we go through things, we can't continue to keep being stuck in places, but we have to release that stuff. We have to let that stuff go because it becomes a hindrance to our next. And guess what? I'm headed to the same church that I forgave her. I was at Little River Zion. She had just gotten saved, and I was preaching. That was the last time I was at Little River Zion. And I was preaching, and she was there. And the Lord say, Tara, you forgiven. I told God, I said, the devil is a lie. I ain't saying that today. And God said, yes, you are. I fought through that up there preaching. And God said, stop and do what I said. And I stopped and I asked her, could I share our testimony? And she said, yes. And when I shared the testimony, God said, every time she looks at you, she's reminded of what happened. Release her today. And I shared our testimony to an extent, and I embraced her and told her, I forgive you. I forgive you. So today we're talking about forgiveness. And so can we walk in that type of forgiveness when we know people have done all manner of things to us and they maybe continue to do it, but can you forgive them? And if you can't, ask yourself, where am I stuck in my heart that I can't forgive? And I know some of you have been through some hard stuff because some people have violated you. Some people have done things to you that they should have never done to you, but you got to walk in forgiveness. And I'm not saying that make them your best friend. You know what I'm saying? This is my story. Let me tell my story. Your story may be a little different, but for sure is walk in forgiveness because you don't want that holding you hostage to your next. Walk in forgiveness. Let me tell you, it is not that serious. I'm telling you, it may be a hurtful thing. It may have been you were violated. And yes, it was wrong. I'm not saying that the act was right. I'm saying for you to move to your next, forgive them. Forgive them. Because I shared with you all how when we hold and harbor stuff, it holds a place in us. It creates a hormone in us that we later will see. It will show up. I was talking to another birthing class person yesterday who was sharing with me how it showed up in her life. She had been there for so many people doing so much stuff and working through her own grief. And it showed up in sickness that she didn't even realize she had because she was in the crisis and going from taking care of a person to grief and moving through all that. And when you're in crisis, I know for me, I can move in it. I can move. If it's a crisis going on, I can move in it. The moment the crisis is over, I crash because my body, the adrenaline keeps me moving. But that adrenaline, if we continue in that, it's not good for our body. It creates hormones. It creates hormones that cause cancer. If you look at cancer, if doctors would really tell us about cancer, the number one thing with cancer is stress and sugar. That's what feed it. If you remain stressful and sugar, and who ain't gonna be stressed when somebody gave them that kind of diagnosis? Okay, and a lot of times when you stress, what you do, you eat and crave sugar. But those are the two things. If you get them out your life, it'll help move that process. I don't know how it will heal your body. I believe it will in some of the things that I researched, but you gotta have faith for that. Okay, you got to have faith for that. And so we're talking about forgiveness today, and our scripture is Colossians 3:13. Um, Forbearing one another and forgiving one another, if any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. And guess what? God didn't tell us about what kind of quarrel it is. He said, if you got something going on with somebody, he said, you know what? Against any, even as Christ forgave you, you also forgive them. Good morning, Cindy. And then the Message Bible says, forgive as quickly and completely as the master forgave you. I think about that. What if God didn't forgive us for the stuff we done? What if he, we always want to expose people. We always have people out there that love to expose folks. When something go on in somebody's life, they don't pull back what's going on in their life, but they like to expose stuff. That's not God. And what if he opened up the blinds on us? What if he opened the doors up on us? How will we be? Where will we be? What will people think about us? And then the Amplified says, bearing gracefully with one another and willingly forgiving each other, if one has a cause for complaint against another, just as the Lord has forgiven you, so shall you forgive. And this is Colossians 3:13. And our devotion reading says, think and write about it today. Have you forgiven everyone in your life you needed to forgive? I'm going to read that again. Have you forgiven everyone in your life you need to forgive? And somebody maybe say, well, they're deceased now. Well, ask God how you need to do that. You may need to write a letter and put it in the sea. Be careful with that. I don't want to be messing with the earth and all that and causing things. But I'm just saying, you may need to do something. You may need to release a balloon. I hear now they're telling us not to release balloons because of the atmosphere and what it's doing. But I'm just saying, however that look, you make a journal about it. Anything that's safe is safe for our environment. Let me be careful because I'm in the arena of social world now. And we will soon be on Instagram and TikTok. I got people saying, man, you got to take it to another step. And I'm like, what? I didn't ask for all this, but if they want to do it, have at it. But I'm just saying, whatever that looks like for you. For me, I have to get by the water. Me and my sister was talking yesterday. Say, man, she's like, I'm ready to go to the water. I said, girl, I got to get by the water because the water is my place of release. I have a place Michelle and I both love. It's called St. Simon Island. A lot of people don't know about it, but I have a spot. People think that I'm one of the residents there because I'm there so much, and they now talk to me, know my name. But beautiful place, and it's an island. It's literally an island, and it's mainly for those that stay in that area. But I've learned how to get to it, and I go there, and I'm telling you, it is so beautiful. I can sit there and sit on a rock in the middle of the water, and look at the birds and release myself. I've taken paint pictures and painted out there, and I'll go out there and have a whole day and just spend it at the water, releasing myself. Good morning, Wanda. And so whatever that looks like for you, you got to do that. But think and write about it today. Have you forgiven everyone in your life you needed to forgive? Take time today to really think about that question. Is it a spouse, a family member, a friend, or co-worker? There are times when others are asking us for forgiveness. We have to look deep within ourselves. Think about it. Do you have lingering, intense, persistent bitterness in your spirit? Do you have lingering, intense, persistent bitterness? Because bitterness is a place of unforgiveness. You're bitter because you have not dealt with unforgiveness. You're bitter and because you may have dealt with some betrayal that you ain't quite got released in that place of forgiveness. Do you constantly blame others? I believe the persons we most need forgiveness from is ourselves. I believe the person we most need forgiveness from is ourselves. Grace yourself and unapologetically forgive you. Grace yourself and unapologetically forgive you. Because maybe you did do some bad things in your life. Maybe you did have some things that you could have done or dealt with better, but forgive yourself. Grace yourself today for forgiveness. When you have unhealthy feelings or emotions about others, who are we hurting the most? These feelings are literally eating a hole in us. Unforgiveness is a weight. It hinders us from flying high. Forgiveness, whether we are giving or receiving, is powerful. When we forgive, it allows us to show love. Love is the greatest thing we can give our family and friends. Forgiveness allows us to heal and be restored. It allows us to heal and be restored. Start today moving toward forgiveness. Give yourself permission to remember those places of forgiveness and places of violation. Was it in your childhood, family, school, life, friendships, or relationships? Be true about your feelings, talk about your emotion and your anger. Take time today to explore your feelings, emotions, and anger. Write it down. Ask yourself, who are you angry and bitter with? What do you know about what do you know about the feelings, emotions, or anger you are exploring? What do you know about it? What I mean about that is, where did that come from? What do you know about it? Where did that come from? Because that's what I've had to go back and say to myself. I had some sibling quarrels going on, and I had to go to my dad and say, where did this start at? Because this didn't start with me. This started somewhere else. And I got to the root of it and realized it started in a time of their lives when things were going on within their family, and then here I come popping up, and it looked like my life is good, but it started some quarrels that I had nothing to do with. So sometimes that's what I mean when I say, what do you know about the feeling, emotion, or the anger you are experiencing or exploring? How do they impact you? Make the choice to forgive. You owe it to yourself to start exploring the possibilities of forgiveness and be willing to forgive. Forgiveness is for you. Forgiveness is for you. Good morning, Sophie. Good morning, Ms. Brooks. Forgiveness is not for that other person. Stop. And I think that's where we get stuck at it, because we think, oh, if I forgive, I'm the little one. I ain't doing that. It ain't for them. It's for you, because you're carrying that baggage. Every time you see them and you think about it, guess what? They are holding you hostage. And would you want somebody that you really don't trust or have a lot of good feelings about holding you hostage? That means that they controlling you. You want somebody to have that much control over you? Come on now. Come on. What do you feel about, I'm going back over this. What do you know about the feeling and emotions? No, I had gotten a little further. Okay, you owe it to yourself to start exploring the possibilities of forgiveness and be willing to forgive. Forgiveness is for you. Take the time needed to explore those places. It may bring up old emotions. There may be places where things are still there, deep inside you, and you are beginning to bring it to surface. That's good processing. Know you are worth it. You are worth the time it takes to process those places. So often we have hidden emotions which drive us to live unconsciously, repeating and sharing painful experiences over and over. These experiences becomes our behaviors of today. Forgiveness frees our hearts. These experiences, when you don't forgive, they become the behavior of you today. And I don't want to see the old you. I want to see the new you. I want to see the be ye transformed by Remember what I said about buy? The word of God says BY, but I say in order to be transformed, you got to tell some things BYE. Goodbye. By the renewing of your mind. Because in order to renew that mind, you got to constantly be telling stuff by, because I'm being transformed today. I pray this has touched you. I feel I would love to go deeper, but I can't right now. but I've done what the Lord have said. Let me say that. I pray this has blessed you this morning. Don't forget, we are preparing to head to Louisville Zion down in Counters to celebrate with my dear friends this morning. The Hunters, yours truly, will be bringing the message this morning. If you're not doing anything, come join us. But I thank God for you being with us. Let this sit in. Go back and replay this. Like and share this. Please like and share this. This is a good topic. Every topic we've dealt with has been a very great topic this week and this month. But like, share. I see some of you sharing it. I appreciate it. Go back and look at some of the other videos. Like and share those. But don't forget, go look at my first fruits, Dr. Teresa. I think it is Teresa the Shields or Dr. Teresa the Shields. Go look at my first fruits on YouTube from February. I did a whole morning on forgiveness, and it was a lot deeper than this. I want you to go back and look at that video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You all be blessed. Have a great grand Sunday, and go wherever the Lord leads you this morning, but go with your heart intense of entering the gates with thanksgiving, coming before his courts with praise, and opening your heart to hear a word from God today. You all be blessed. This has been Authentic Conversations with Dr. T. Have a wonderful day.